Good Wednesday morning, and thank you for being with us here on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get to your headlines. We do have to tell you about breaking news in Minneapolis. Right now, police are searching for a man they say stole a car with a 3-month-old baby inside. This happened around 8 last night at a daycare parking lot on Plymouth Avenue North. Police say they were able to use cameras, drones, and license plate readers to track down the car an hour and a half later. The baby was found safe inside and reunited with the mother. They were not able to find the suspect, however. Happening today, the BCA is expected to release new evidence from the 2024 shooting that killed 3 Burnsville first responders. This comes a week after investigators released these crime scene photos showing the scale of the shooting, as well as the weapons and ammunition police found after the gunman, Shannon Gooden, took his own life. The evidence also included videos he shared showing off his weapons and teaching his kids about them. The White House says President Trump will share an important update about the war in Iran. He'll address the nation later on tonight. Megan McPherson is at the live desk with what you can expect.
So President Trump's primetime address is set for 8 p.m. Central Time tonight, and as he signals a potential turning point in the war with Iran. Just yesterday in the Oval Office, Trump said that he expects the U.S. to leave Iran within 2 or 3 weeks and made clear a deal with Iran is not required in order to end this conflict. Tonight's address comes as the war is driving prices higher here at home. Gas now topping $4 a gallon nationwide for the first time since 2022. In Minnesota, you can see on this map here, the average has jumped to $3.52. That's up more than 70 cents in just 1 month. Oil prices continue to climb because Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz, a major oil shipping channel. Now the president is calling on European allies to reopen the strait, saying the U.S. will not be involved.
What happens in the strait, we're not going to have anything to do with, because these countries, China will go up and they'll fuel up their beautiful ships and they'll leave and they'll take care of themselves. There's no reason for us to do it.
And another major development this morning, American journalist Shelley Kittleson, who you see in that photo there, this is also video of this incident. She is believed to have been taken by Iranian-backed militants in Iraq. The State Department says it's working with the FBI right now to secure her safe and immediate release. Back to you.
Megan, thank you very much. Happening right now, President Trump is at the Supreme Court for a hearing about birthright citizenship. He's the first sitting president to attend oral arguments at the nation's highest court. The case involves an executive order he signed last year restricting birthright citizenship to citizens and legal permanent residents. At the White House, the president has signed an executive order he says is aimed at cracking down on mail-in voting. It directs the federal government to review voter roll data and verify voter eligibility. It also asks the U.S. Postal Service to take measures to ensure ballots are only sent to eligible voters. The president acknowledged the order could be challenged in court.
You'll probably challenge it. You may find a rogue judge. You got a lot of rogue judges, very bad people, very bad judges. But that's the only way that can be changed, and hopefully we'll win an appeal if it is, but I don't see how anybody can challenge it.
It's important to note states, not the president, typically have the authority to run elections. Now, in a statement, Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon said, in part, voting by mail is secure and trustworthy. Millions of Minnesotans have used this service for decades to exercise their right to vote in a way that is convenient for them. Today, Luigi Mangione will be back in federal court as his lawyers seek to delay his trials. Mangione is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. His lawyers are asking a judge to postpone his federal trial from September to January. They'll also seek to delay his June 8th state trial date to September. Mangione's lawyers argue right now the two trials would overlap, saying they wouldn't be able to prepare for the federal court date while defending him at the state trial. Well, starting today, Minnesota businesses who want to sell hemp and THC products can apply for a license. Danny Spiewak is at the state capitol with a closer look at the process and where things stand.
We're talking about those businesses that sell things like the THC seltzers you might see in a brewery or the gummies you might see at a gas station. Today, a new application window has opened for the state. One just closed that had been going for the last 5 months. But this is all happening with significant market uncertainty due to looming federal regulations that are starting later this year. The state's Office of Cannabis Management says about 3,500 businesses applied for hemp licenses over the last 5 months. That application window ended this week, so there's a new one starting today, and that's the update. Demand remains high, but in about 8 months, those new regulations are set to kick in federally that will essentially make hemp illegal nationwide. Since it's legal in the state of Minnesota, breweries could still sell products like THC seltzers here, but they couldn't ship them across state lines. And that, of course, could have a devastating business impact. The Office of Cannabis Management says it's still moving forward with applications despite that uncertainty.
We saw it as imperative for the office to march forward with that licensing structure. And in the event that something does change federally, we think not only as a state from the regulatory perspective, but also on a business side, our businesses will be well positioned to succeed.
Now, there is a bipartisan push from Minnesota's congressional delegation to try to reverse that hemp ban that was put in place during the shutdown negotiations last fall in an agriculture funding bill. But so far, those talks have not come to fruition to try to reverse the ban. There's been some state activity this session at the Capitol where lawmakers expanded the testing options for companies to have the oversight process and have testing out of state continue to be done. Governor Walz signed that law earlier this session. Back to you.
Danny, thank you very much. Right now, the Crystal Police Department is stepping up patrols at Becker Park due to issues with massive groups of teenagers. According to police, groups of 75 to 150 unsupervised kids have come to the park over the past 3 days using rideshare services. They say numerous fights have broken out and the groups have used Orbeez guns and pepper spray. Police say they have made multiple arrests and will take action against parents who allow their kids to participate in these activities. This park has had similar issues the last few years. Even though winter is making a brief return, spring is here, everyone. And as warmer weather returns, that also means the return of ticks. Experts say they're expecting this year's tick season to be worse than last year, if you can imagine. Public health officials say it's because of a warming climate and expanding tick population, and they're reminding people to cover their skin properly.
You want to have long-sleeved, long pants, be a little doggy and put your trousers into your socks, wear a hat.
They're also reminding people to do body checks after being outdoors. They advise you taking a hot shower. If you find a tick on your body, place it in a plastic bag in the fridge, just in case you develop a tick-borne illness. Well, this evening, history is lifting off from Florida's Space Coast. For the first time in more than 50 years, humans are heading back to the moon, marking a major step towards landing astronauts on the lunar surface once again. Larissa Abreu is in Titusville, Florida, where spectators will gather to see the liftoff.
The day is finally here. Currently, we are at Spaceview Park, and behind me is the Indian River. Now, just beyond that is the rocket that the whole world will be watching here as we head towards later on this evening. Families have already gathered on the other side of the park to watch history in the making. The countdown is on at Kennedy Space Center as NASA prepares to launch Artemis 2, its first crewed mission to the moon since the Apollo era.
We're ready. The rocket is ready. We are ready. NASA is ready.
On board, 4 astronauts, Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Cook, and astronaut Jeremy Hansen. Each making history, including the first woman and the first black astronaut to travel to the moon.
I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity, not black history, not women's history, but that it becomes human history.
This mission won't land on the moon, but it is a critical test, sending humans farther into space than we've ever gotten in decades. Engineers will be watching everything from life support systems to how the spacecraft handles extreme speeds re-entering Earth's atmosphere. After liftoff, the crew will orbit Earth before slingshotting around the moon and heading back home in a 10-day mission through deep space.
It is our strong hope that this mission is the start of an era where every person on Earth can look at the moon and think of it as also a destination.
Back here on Earth, thousands are expected to line Florida's coast for a front row seat to witness history in what's shaping up to be one of the biggest launches in decades. If it all goes as planned, Artemis 2 won't just launch a rocket, it will launch the next era of human space exploration.
Failure is not an option, but I think it is often misunderstood. It's not that we never fail, it's that we don't quit.
And this mission is all contingent on the weather. So far, it is 80% favorable to take off, but we will still have to wait and see if everything perfectly aligns for it to blast off. in Titusville, Florida. I'm Larissa Abreu for NBC News.
Certainly looking forward to that launch later on today. So stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.